Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Imaginary Indies, a game show slash podcast thing where what we'll do for you is we will make games or make pitches for games based on random game names we get through a generator. Find the link to the generator somewhere up there. So, first off, I'll go through the guys. So, Daniel, tell me what you've been up to recently.
Hi guys, I'm Daniel. Nothing much, Rafiq. Just been working. Started a new job on Monday actually, so pretty exciting, pretty stressful at the same time, but pretty exciting.
Excellent. And Elliot, tell me about your shirt.
It's inside out and back to front because I didn't have a clean one.
Good. That's perfect.
I'm not a mess. I don't know what you're talking about.
Such a classy person.
You can tell the only person here who hasn't graduated yet.
And Stephen, I believe you have some news for us. So why don't you tell us about your game?
Yes, I've put a game out on the Android Play Store. It's called Push Bounce. Give it a look. I'm going to get it on the iOS as soon as I can. And yeah, give it a look. It's a nice little casual game. It's easy to play and free to download.
I like it. It's good fun.
Push Bounce.
Perfect. I too like it. So, I mentioned this was a game show. So the way this is going to go is we're going to get our names. We're going to pick from one of two that each person gets that I'll go through in just a second. We're going to take a few minutes, take a little break, work on those pitches, come back, present them in turn, and then we're going to vote. We're going to vote on the basis of whether or not we'd buy it. So you'd say, yes, I'd buy it, or I'd buy it on a sale, or no, I wouldn't buy it, it's not really for me. Then we're going to tally those up. We'll talk about them a little bit as well. And then there's also going to be a poll that you guys can participate in, and that will decide the winner for the next episode's show. So, without too much further ado, let's get right into the games. So, Daniel, we'll go through your names first.
Sure.
So, your first option is Primal Sniper Fest. Yeah.
Righto.
You got that one, or?
Yep.
Just let me know if you guys need time to write these down. Or Monty Python's Makeover, the card game. Right.
Card game.
So everyone will get a second to think about these. We'll just keep going through the rest of the names. Elliot, your first option is Astral Dodgeball World, which sounds awesome.
That does sound awesome.
Not to influence your voting. Or
That's alright.
This is going to go wrong. My First Bedtime Superstar.
Oh dear, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, an interesting one. There's some potential. All right, Stephen, you've got Miniature Zamboni Playhouse.
Okay.
Yep, that's what I thought when I read it. Or Downtown Puppy Agent. It's quite cool.
Ooh. Yeah. That's a question.
All right, so let's give my names a shot now. I've got Educational Rocket Omega, or
fair.
Blissful Train Inspector.
Obviously not Sydney Rail.
Oh, topical jokes. I like it.
Blissful Train Inspector, also known as the Cops.
All right. So, Daniel, have you decided what game you're going to be going with?
I think I might go for Primal Sniper Fest.
Primal Sniper.
I like it. Avoiding copyright infringement. Good man.
Exactly.
Elliot, what name have you chosen?
As much as I love the second one, I'm definitely going with Astral Dodgeball World.
Astral Dodgeball World. And Stephen?
I think I'm going to have to go with Downtown Puppy Agent.
Downtown Puppy Agent. Good choice. I'm going to go for Blissful Train Inspector. All right. So we have our names. We'll take a few minutes now. We'll cut for a brief interlude, and we'll come back and we'll get right into it. So. And we're back, so we'll get right into presenting our games. Daniel, why don't you go first with Primal Sniper Fest?
Sure. Okay. So my game's called Primal Sniper Fest. It's a shooter, obviously. Couldn't really do much there. Basically, it's you're a high-ranking sniper in the American Army that has been tasked with defending a key location in the Amazon rainforest. You need to hold out this location until the development team arrives to build President Trump's new 5-star exotic hotel. Just one problem, though. This site is sacred to a local Amazonian tribe who will try to take it back at all costs. So, basically, the mechanics are it's any kind of general shooter. You will obviously have different types of snipers that you can shoot the tribesmen with. But the way it's going to work is it's going to be in waves. So a certain amount of tribesmen are going to come each wave, and obviously as the game progresses, it's going to get more difficult with new tribesmen being introduced, with new weapons, and an increasing amount of tribesmen, obviously. There's going to be a short delay between each wave that will give the player a chance to restock their supplies, set up traps, rethink their strategy, everything like that. Next major mechanic is obviously going to be traps. So there's going to be a variety of them that you can set up. So basically, just off the top of my head, a few of them could be like a fire oil trap that when triggered will drop a pot of flaming oil. That will set a certain section on fire for a brief period of time. A bear trap could trap a tribesman in it. And a grenade trap will explode when triggered. But yeah, so let's make the Amazon great again, guys. Yeah.
Excellent. An appropriately un-PC game. Yeah.
So,
Sorry, go on, Elliot.
it's COD zombies with racism.
Okay, that was actually the question I was going to ask, kind of. But when you say Amazonian tribe, do you mean a tribe from the Amazon, or do you mean Wonder Woman? Because it's either COD zombies with racism or COD zombies with sexism.
Which I love those.
Someone from the Amazon, not Wonder Woman, unfortunately.
Whichever
Copyright
one
infringement and all that.
you as the viewer find least offensive, marginally.
Exactly. Yes, let's go with that one.
I just... So, like... Yeah, well, that was the only question I had. COD with racism, Jesus. You're a madman. Madman.
Well, then, Elliot, why don't you pick it up with Astral Dodgeball World?
So, everyone knows Pong, right?
No,
And
what
everyone also... You know what Pong is, you know? Boop, boop, boop.
Thank you.
And then everyone also knows asteroids, the little, like... Pew! 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 That's my invitations of Pong and Asteroid for you. So, Astral Dodgeball World is essentially a cross between Pong and asteroids. It's the latest sports craze to take over the solar system, and it's super high stakes dodgeball on a life or death scale. So, the screen layout is you've got your two ships, essentially, and instead of just bouncing the ball back and forth, there are multiple balls that you have to either dodge or catch, or catch and throw back, or you can catch them and use them as a shield to bounce them back, and that sort of thing. So, the walls are all solid. So, if it bounces behind you, you have to watch out that it's not going to come crashing in behind you or anything like that. If your ship gets hit directly without you facing the right direction for your little grabber and grabbing it at the right time, you lose a life. If you lose 3 lives, all the shielding and engines and all that stuff on your ship just explodes and you die horribly. So sort of designed as just like a basic simple multiplayer game. Maybe you just throw it on a TV if you've got a small social gathering and people can go and fight each other over it and prove who's the best at Pong cross asteroids, Astral Dodgeball World, rock and roll. So people who want to think they're cool and retro.
Yeah.
Without actually being cool and retro.
I gotta admit, I can actually see that kind of working.
Okay.
So, the screen's divided into the two sides, and you have to stick to your side. Just a new asteroid / ball comes down the middle of the screen every now and then. So you just pick it up and try and throw it first. You're trying to catch the ones that are moving around while avoiding them. Yeah, I can actually see that working really well.
So, Stephen, why don't you tell us about Downtown Puppy Detective?
Okay, so the setting of it's a sort of parody, gritty noir adventure. about a chain-smoking, private-eye dog that's trying to get by in a city that's 90% populated by cats. So it's bigging up the whole dogs and cats. Yeah, it's an allegory. Everyone gets it. While investigating the disappearance of a wealthy cat, and keep in mind, dogs and cats. So when I say wealthy cat, I mean it's like a pure-born hybrid, the sort of thing that cat owners had wet themselves in excitement over. This cat's disappeared, and in trying to find out what's happened, he's found out it's died in an alley cat area looking like an alley cat. So that's the whole story. It's all about him trying to work out what the deal is with that. The audience, I'd probably go for like a 15-plus audience, so there's some more adult jokes in there, but it's not going full nudity and swearing and that sort of thing. It's accessible for younger people while having good jokes for the older people. It'd be an adventure game. I'm thinking sort of like one of the classic side-on 2D adventure games with like a little bit of 3D movement. The two gameplay mechanics that are probably differentiated from other adventure games would be, one, because you're a dog, you've got a sense of smell. So that's one of your main interactions. You smell things to see who's touched it most recently or who's been there. And as your private eye, that's a really big deal. So you sort of smell it and you pick up like a memory, and that's just a little clue of this person touched that last. And you can use, as in all adventure games, you can use the stuff you pick up to advance the story. The second main gameplay element would be the investigation. Because you're a private eye, you're investigating what goes on. And the way the investigations work is you know how in... I can't remember which one of the Arkham games it was, but introduce a thing where you walk around, you see the next thing, and it sort of displays the next part of the chronological events, and it was basically just walking around until you find the button to click on, and it just played something that looked fancy. I'm thinking like a more interactive version of that. So you walk around, you find the stuff left over from what happened, the little clues about what happened, and that gives you an element. So, for example, you'd find a bullet casing, so a gun's been fired. Thing is, that doesn't mean you get the answer. Down the bottom of the screen, there'd just be this one-dimensional line where you get to slot in the events in chronological order, and you're not guaranteed to be right. If you get at least 75% right, you get fairly close. Less than 75%, you're wrong, but this won't gate you from the next bit of the game. So you can always get to the end of the game. If you get it 100% right, then you get a perfect lead. And at the end of the game, when you've got all your leads, your incorrect leads and your perfect leads, then you have the big showdown. The big element where you've drawn all the parties into the accusing lounge, to borrow the Futurama term, and you sort of do the same thing where you lay out all the evidence and use it to accuse the person. So you get the three endings of the failure where you get it wrong, the scratch the surface where you get the right person but you don't get why, and the full picture where you understand exactly what happened. So yeah, that's my idea. It's a dog and cat-based gritty noir adventure game with smelling and investigative elements.
So in terms of your rating scale, you're going Lord of the Rings, not Game of Thrones.
Think along the line, in terms of the actual humor, think along the lines of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where it's sort of like they'll have the booby trap joke, but they won't have, actual boobs.
Yeah. Okay. I think it sounds awesome.
It does. It sounds very cool.
It sounds very cool.
Too many puns jokes that I want to make here, but I will control myself. I will try.
So the mystery is that's preset, like it's a story game, or is that generated?
Yeah, it'd be a preset adventure game story. Okay. There's no way you'd be able to digitally generate it with any sort of reasonable budget.
Yeah. All right, cool.
So kind of how you were explaining the way that you'll piece the stuff together. I don't know if you've played This Is the Police before.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah, is it kind of similar to like that detective change thing that you get given frames and you have to put it in the right order?
That sort of thing, yeah. Okay. That sort of thing where you can. The big difference here is that you can just no, in This Is the Police you can just get it wrong. Yeah, in this you look around to find the clues and you put it in order, and if you get it wrong, the game just continues on.
Sure.
It won't be old Sierra-style adventure games where you can just flat out fail and be stuck in the game forever. It'll be more sort of LucasArts where you can progress. It's just different endings depending on how well you did.
Okay. That's what it is.
Very cool. So I think it's time for me to give us our last game with Blissful Train Inspector. So, naturally, you are a train inspector in one of the most crime-filled, disgusting, horrible cities in the country. Choose whichever your city is that you like least. Fill in the name there. And your job is so high stress as a law enforcement officer of a sort that you're about to break down. Your doctor told you if you have another breakdown, that's it. You've got it. You're going to have to basically stay at home and not do anything and not see anyone, or just live a very quiet, secluded life. But you want to keep doing your job. So it plays as a sort of on-rails side-scroller, so your character will just keep moving. And as you move through whatever that level is, whether it be a train or part of the station or whatever, crimes will occur. So someone might steal something from someone else, or someone might try and jump the turnstile and evade their fare, at which point your character will start chasing after them. Now, you want to catch the criminal, but your stress will be rising at the same time. So you can run after them, you can sprint after them, or, if you're lucky enough, you can walk after them for a little bit to try and maintain the stress levels. If you fail, then your stress jumps, so you can't just let them go. But at the same time, you can also learn techniques to, during the chases or during the downtime between separate crimes occurring, you can learn things to calm yourself down. So you might start with deep breathing, and then you might build up later in the game to doing Tai Chi. But unfortunately, that's going to take you a long chunk of time, so you're not going to do that mid-high intensity chase. So it's mostly just a small little silly arcade game with a lot of humor potential for, all these mean streets, and suddenly you've got this guy doing yoga in the middle of nowhere. And that's my game, Blissful Train Inspector.
When you were talking about trying to keep your stress down while you're working, I thought you were going to go in the direction of, so you get a bottle of pills, and you just sort of walk around, and you have a sight lines you're using to see things, and every time your stress goes up, you just pop a pill, and if you run out of them by the end of the day and your stress keeps going up, you fail because you have a nervous breakdown. But if you take too many of them, your ability to actually do your job falls apart because you start wobbling around because you're high on whatever you've got. That I think that would work quite well.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to get too much into the nitty-gritty of what the different, relaxation techniques are, but you could adopt an almost talent system there, where it's just some are natural remedies, some are relaxation, methods, and then you could do pharmaceuticals, which each have their drawbacks and benefits.
I have to say, I loved the subtle pun that you snuck in there, which I won't spoil for people who didn't catch it. But it seems definitely interesting. It seems very interesting. It's kind of, how are you going to certain elements of it? You said that it was a side scroller, or side scrollery. Yeah. How are you going to do if people jump over the gates sort of thing? Because there is obviously a limited amount of platform at a train station. Is it kind of going to be an endless runner sort of thing? Or?
I think it'll be pseudo endless with a timer that just is your workday.
Right.
And then different parts of wherever you are is where a different crime could occur. I'm not sure if they're determined or there'd be a sort of percentage or a sort of chance-based thing, but yeah.
So, if you're, say, for example, you're booking someone for not having an accurate ticket down one end of the platform, could someone else, do you get rated on how well you do your job as well?
Yeah, so each level would have a number of things that happen that day, then how many people you manage to get in that day.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're booking someone for fare for spitting gum onto the platform while someone else jumps the turnstile, would that be, the jumping the turnstile's worse than the gum sort of thing? You lose more points than you gain?
Yes, because the worst criminal got away from you, so your overall game stress builds.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so those were our games. So again, just to go back over our quick voting process, we're going to say we would buy it, or we'd buy it on a sale, or no, it's not really for us. So I guess we'll keep the order we've set. So Daniel's game, Primal Sniper Fest. Would we buy it, guys?
I'd buy it.
Thank you.
We know you would.
I don't think I would, but it's not my sort of game, and also at the same time, it's I want myself to fail at this.
Yeah. If it were on a sale, it's a good gimmick game that I'd pick up, but yeah, I'm not paying full price for anything that casts Donald Trump in a good light.
To be fair, I don't think
it's cast him in a good light.
So, yeah,
I have a
mechanically.
very low tolerance for what is a good light. If he doesn't have horns and spewing acid, anyway. Politics.
Mechanically, it sounds pretty fun, but it's just like if someone discovers this in your Steam library, you've got to justify this. I'd probably pick it up on a sale ultimately. So that was a sale from you as well, Stephen?
That was a no from me.
Oh, sorry, no, right, yeah, no.
Stephen.
That's what I meant. I meant to say Elliot, and I said Stephen instead. And then Elliot, your final verdict?
Mine was on sale.
So, Astral Dodgeball World, guys. Would we buy it?
Yes.
I'd actually think I'd buy that one. I reckon it'd be a real good party game. If you had couch co-op with it, just load it onto the TV. Maybe have if you had 4 players or something and 2 on each team. That'd be really good. I reckon that'd be a good thing just to have a couple of drinks and play with friends.
Take a drink every time you get hit.
I reckon that'd work. It'd be a nice little party game.
Yeah.
I'd probably pick it up on sale. Not really not really big fan of the retro genre of game sort of thing, but as Steven said, it's a party game.
I'd probably buy it too. Good party game, could be a bit of fun otherwise. And there's always something quite cool when you've got these games that are time tested and you start playing with them and messing around or mashing them up together. So I think that's quite cool, man. Yeah, pick that one up. Downtown Puppy Detective, guys. Are we going to buy this one?
Sounds terrible, don't touch it.
I'd buy it.
I would 100% buy it.
The human potential there is going to be a buy for me. All right.
Stephen, raking in the dough.
Yeah, I know. So much money. And finally, Blissful Train Inspector, my game, guys. Are we going to buy this one?
On sale.
I think I'd get it on sale, I think.
All right, well, that's a very quick consensus we got there.
Yeah, I think the game itself has got a bit of it's got some potential there. It all depends on how it actually handles the nitty-gritty of each individual element. Does it keep it fun and engaging, or does it sort of grind you down the same way this guy's job is grinding him down?
It could be part of the game, actually. That'd be,
If it went sort of a papers, please route, that could be interesting, but...
Game.
Yeah.
I feel as though I'm really bad for, saying if you've got to buy games or not, because I don't know if you guys have seen my Steam library, but it's fucking huge. Because I buy absolutely everything.
So we should just remove the no option from you? Is that what we're saying?
Kind of.
Well,
on
guys...
sale is the worst criticism he can have. I'll only buy that if it's cheap.
So, thus far leading is Stephen with a clean sweep of buys from us. But of course, you guys are the deal breakers here. So get voting, and in the next episode, we'll announce the winner.
Mine's better.
Vote for me.
So this was the very first episode of Imaginary Indies. I hope you guys had some fun with it, and we will hopefully be back soon for you. Bye.
See ya.
So I've been Shuppzy, or as you heard in the show, Rafiq, and I'd just like to say thank you so much for your time. This was the first episode, really a pilot of sorts, so if there are bits that were rough, hopefully we improve on them and improve on them very quickly. We do really like this idea, and we hope you do as well. If you do, please share it around, please do all those awesome things. Thank you again.